to 25%.
Kenyatta says the country's GDP has improved under his leadership. Plus, embattled FKF President Nick Mwendwa released on a 10 million shillings cash bail.
That in the alternative, the accused person shall be released on a bond of 15 million shillings with 2 sureties of a similar amount.
Mwendwa pleaded not guilty to graft charges as court bars him from accessing FKF offices. And man kills wife, 4 children after domestic quarrel in KIRINYAGA County before he surrendered himself to police.
Hakukuwa akiongea, kazi yake ni kukimya tu, ukimuuliza swali na kuambia
Faith Muikamba is our sign language interpreter. Good evening, I'm Abubakar Abdullahi. Welcome to the broadcast. Tonight, police in KIRINYAGA County are holding a man who allegedly hacked his wife and 4 children to death on Sunday night. Paul Njuki surrendered himself to KIRINYAGA police station where he confessed to killing his family members. Our senior reporter Sharon Baranga begins our broadcast tonight.
Furniture turned upside down is perhaps evidence of a scuffle that ensued in this house that was once a home for a family of 6. It all happened on Sunday night when the father Paul Njuki allegedly turned on his family, hacking all of them to death. It is reported that his wife, Millicent Mudhoni, found him defiling one of their daughters, and in a move to rescue her, they were killed.
Nilikunja usiku, nikaangalia, nikaona vile brother alifanya, alafu mimi nikanyamaza.
The self-confessed Njuki then surrendered himself to KIRINYAGA police station after the incident. The other victims have been identified as Gifton Bundi, Nelly Wawira, Sheromit Wamboi and Clifton Njuki.
Huyu jamaa vile alikuwa hakukuwa akiongea, kazi yake ni kukimya tu, ukimuuliza swali na kuambia kuisha maneno. Hakuna kitu anakuambia, ukimuuliza hii umefanya kwa nini? Sasa jana leo asubuhi ndio nilisikia akiongea lugha mzuri, akaambia serikali yeye ndiye alianza kupiga bibi yake na shoka. Alikuwa anataka kurepu mchezana wake, ndio walianza na vita hapo na bibi yake.
Sasa OCS alikuwa usipindi, alikuwa na Ndisayo, walikuja na kijana. Akaambiwa apitie kwenye alipitia, akaingililia kwa dirisha na akasema yeye, akaulizwa kwa nini ulitenda haya, akasema hakujua kama yeye alikuwa anaua. Serikali kaendelea kufanya utafiti wao. Kijana mwenyewe ndiye alifanya watu wajue, yeye ndiye alijipeleka police station. Na vyenye alikuja yeye mwenyewe ndiye alisema alifanya hiyo kitendo muda wa saa 5 usiku Sunday.
A slasher and an axe believed to have been the murder weapons were recovered by detectives at the scene of crime. Reports indicate that one of the daughters had been defiled before the murder and that one of the boys had burn marks on the legs. Investigation into the incident has started. Bodies of the 5 were taken to Kerugoya Hospital mortuary. Sharon Baranga, TV 47.
Elsewhere, President Uhuru Kenyatta has yet again defended the handshake between him and ODM boss Raila Odinga. The president was welcomed by his deputy-turned-rival William Ruto in an event that was attended by opposition chiefs Raila Odinga of ODM, ANC's Musalia Mudavadi and Kalonzo Musyoka of Wiper. Joash Onsare has the details.
Minutes to 3 p.m. Tuesday, President Uhuru Kenyatta arrived at the Parliament buildings. Among those who were waiting for him was Deputy President William Ruto. And two would walk side by side towards the Parliament buildings. The two haven't been seeing each other eye to eye in the recent past. Before the arrival of the head of state, opposition leaders were already in parliament for the much-awaited State of the Nation address. The president yet again defending his handshake with ODM boss Raila Odinga, a handshake that Ruto's allies believe is the cause of the discord between the once buddies Ruto.
Let me conclude my address by speaking about the fourth frame that has guided my administration, and I call it political stabilization, which is the doctrine that guided me to a path of a handshake with the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Undoubtedly, as I have tried to explain, my administration has secured an impressive economic acceleration, including the doubling of our GDP from 4.74 trillion to 11 trillion shillings.
The head of state insisting that the famous handshake has ensured political stabilization, which is the doctrine that he says guided him to path of a handshake Odinga. Kenyatta in his speech says in 1992, the election cost the country 248 billion shillings in lost economic growth. In the same election, Kenyatta says Kenya's foreign direct investments fell by 2/3 from 1.8 billion shillings to 600 million shillings.
The election cost us Kenya shillings 248 billion in lost economic growth. Lives were lost and populations displaced. And during this election, Kenya's foreign direct investment at the time fell by 2/3 from Kenya shillings 1.8 billion to Kenya shillings 600 million. In 2007, the election eroded the equivalent of Kenya shillings 250 billion in lost economic growth in a matter of days. Lives were lost and populations displaced, just as had been the case to a far lesser extent in 1997.
Opposition chiefs Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi were also at the parliament buildings. Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Well, President Uhuru Kenyatta has reiterated the need to amend the constitution, saying it's beneficial to Kenyans. Speaking during the State of the Nation address in Parliament, the head of state said the move by the court to stop reggae was a big loss to Kenyans. And as our parliamentary affairs reporter Elizabeth Mutuku now reports, the president is optimistic of BBI resurrection.
The constitutional amendments talk took the center stage during the 8th presidential address by President Uhuru Kenyatta, with Kenyatta insisting that all is not lost.
For the record, political stabilization is not an end in itself. It is a continuous process that every administration, even those that come after me, must apply their minds to and secure. If indeed Article 1 of the 2010 Constitution states that all sovereign power rests in the people of Kenya and can be exercised either directly or through their representatives, the people made their voices heard with regard to the First Amendment.
The head of state lamenting over the matter in what he described as a decision made by few.
Of Parliament attests to the fact that the people of Kenya wanted a constitutional change, but a few individuals sat down in a back room and they decided otherwise. Honorable members, we cannot behave like the proverbial ostrich and bury our heads in the sand. A constitutional moment does not resolve itself simply by being ignored.
The BBI has been a source of growing controversy since its launch. Parliament seemingly divided over the matter, with Deputy President William Ruto's allies taking a swipe on Kenyatta's lamentation over the BBI.
Cannot use the floor of Parliament to attack the judiciary and to attack judges who are sitting at the Speaker's gallery. Judge Musinda was there. So I think the President, in my opinion, did not comply with Article 132 of the Constitution, because it's very, very clear.
I think the president needs to come to the realization that the will of the Kenyan people overrides his own will. He is one singular person, as opposed to the close to 45 or 50 million Kenyans who are more interested in things that affect their lives directly. And the Kenyan people appreciated, just like many people have said, that BBI was about the political leadership. And the president must come to that realization.
BBI process that the whole thing was cancelled by the judiciary, but we have to respect the judiciary, and we have to respect the process. That is the path of democracy that we chose as a country, and we have to respect our institutions. You can disagree, but that does, but you still have to respect. So that's the principle behind it.
A section of MPs, however, echoed President Uhuru Kenyatta's sentiments, insisting that there is a need to expand the government to ensure a peaceful country as it was anticipated in the BBI.
It cannot be that proverbial ostrich that buried its head under the sand. We have now to come to the reality that if we go to 2022 election with the current competition, with the current cutthroat competition that we have in the country, I can assure you there might be violence. So,
that he has made, but it is important to appreciate that the amendment to the constitution were dealing with problems that were facing Kenyans, and the problems are still facing Kenyans. The fact that the thing is bogged up in court does not resolve our problems. The problems must be resolved through a constitutional amendment. How I wish the judiciary would take heed of what he said.
There's elections next year, right? So whatever has not been achieved, Kenya remains, and the next administration should be able to achieve that. But he has laid a very good foundation. So when the foundation is good, the house can grow.
President Uhuru Kenyatta concludes his 8th presidential address, insisting on the importance of constitutional amendment. On whether his predecessor will take on this agenda is a matter of wait and see. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV 47 Panel Biddings, Nairobi.
Thank you, our parliamentary affairs reporter Elizabeth Mutuku, for that report. We are continuing to cover the State of the Nation address by President Uhuru Kenyatta, his 8th, the lengthiest so far and the second last. And as far as the numbers are concerned, time for us to take a short break here on TV 47 News Tonight. Part of that coverage, of course, is David Mudoka, our very own, looking at the scorecard of the president. Up next after this interview, after this short break. Stay with us.
Entrepreneurs around the country are creatively grinding.
I started with a borrowed phone.
A borrowed phone?
Yeah, that could last 2 hours with charge.
We just have to do quality work for them.
To make their mark in an unpredictable market.
It was now going on a sales venture, looking for stockists door to door.
On the grind, we bring you their stories so you can tell yours. Every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Men are known to be the pillars.
We're rising up together.
Say your point. You need an alpha male now to come and help you and your girl.
Ameongea zero.
And women, they are the cornerstone that hold the pillars.
Don't be entitled. A man is peaceful, a man knows how to talk to a lady.
This November, the Men's Conference brings a cocktail of diverse ladies to weigh in on various matters.
Something I'd love more to see is men being able to exist as themselves.
Tune in every Wednesday at 10 p.m.
Hello guys, and welcome to Night In with Joy Irungu. Joy Irungu.
Heartbreak, pain, and tears have been a major part of Night In Season 1. We thank you for being with us on this journey, and for this upcoming season, we will bring you more empowering stories that not everyone is talking about.
This is the only show where we keep it authentic.
We share our lifetime experiences, and you know what? Tell every person that you can turn your pain into power.
Join Joy Irongo on Night In as we take the brave step of sharing.
The road to 2022 is becoming tougher.
Nyuma ya wheelbarrow kuna economic model.
And trickier with each passing day.
Niliwaambia washushe chini bei ya mafuta.
Political aspirants in a dilemma whether to change allegiance or not.
How has Raila and the handshake made Jubilee lose focus?
You've seen Raila Odinga flying military choppers.
Our people have never been called to Uhuru Park to unite. They have always united out of their own.
Welcome back to TV 47 News Tonight. Thank you for staying with us. Let's continue with the President's State of the Nation address. And President Uhuru Kenyatta has described his years in power as a success, signaling out key milestones in education, security, infrastructure, devolution, and electricity since assuming office. The head of state maintains his government has surpassed previous governments combined in development achievements made while attributing the success to accelerated development. David Mudhoka reports on President Kenyatta's scorecard tonight.
Tuesday afternoon.
The Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, the Honorable Speaker of the Senate.
The chambers of the National Assembly provided President Uhuru Kenyatta a much-needed platform to outline his report card 8 years since assuming office.
Honorable members, it is necessary.
It was the 8th time the head of state was delivering the State of the Nation address, and it being his penultimate address before his retirement next year, President Kenyatta seized the moment to state how much he has achieved. In front of 120 members of parliament and senators, the two speakers of the bicameral parliament, Deputy President William Ruto, leaders Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Musalia Mudavadi, President Kenyatta for the umpteenth time maintained that he has outperformed his predecessors combined. Kenyatta cited key milestones in infrastructure, stating how his government has expanded the road network in 8 years by nearly 2 times compared to what had been achieved since independence.
My administration has multiplied what the previous administrations have done by a factor of 2. We have built 10,500 kilometers of road across the Republic, and doing so 15 times faster than previous administrations.
The head of state also outlined the impact of the standard gauge railway built during his tenure, noting how crucial it has been for the transportation of passengers and cargo.
With Madaraka Express having served over 6,495,000 passengers, while our cargo gets to the stores of our enterprises efficiently and on time, with a record of 17.6 million tons of cargo transported from the 1st of January 2018 to yesterday, the 29th of November 2021.
This, as the president stated, more achievements in power generation, devolution, security, health, and education.
The policy choices of my administration have been about contracting our development timelines through aggressive implementation of projects. We are moving with speed because there is no time like the present to deliver the dreams of Kenyans for a better tomorrow.
And in the wake of the Kenya-Somalia maritime border dispute, President Kenyatta fired back, insisting that his administration will not give in to pressure from its northeastern neighbors.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, as I have said before, not an inch more and not an inch less.
And with the verdict on the president's scorecard still out, his address elicited a myriad of reactions from leaders present in parliament on Tuesday afternoon.
In 8 years, he has achieved much more than what was achieved in 123 years. So in terms of letting him, he's performed very well. As to whether we have finished our problems, we are far from it.
He didn't satisfy the expectations of people, and more particularly when he said that the economy has grown by 10% GDP.
All in all, I expected the president to tell us our debt levels as a country. We needed to tell us our debt levels. He needed to tell us about the Pandora box leaks. He needed to tell us about the KENYATTA'S.
You know, this is like his last State of the Nation address. Next year he won't get a quorum. I will not be there. I will be campaigning for my seat. So this was his last, and he had an opportunity. But I think the people who wrote his speech were mischievous. They wrote the longest speech I've ever seen in Parliament in my 14 years.
The focus now shifts to next year, with President Kenyatta set to deliver his final State of the Nation address ahead of retirement. With the August 9th, 2022 general election barely 10 months away from now, and with the end of his tenure now imminent, President Kenyatta says that his legacy is intact. David Mudhoka, TV47 at Parliament, Nairobi.
Thank you, David Mudhoka. Now, a section of Kenyans are happy with President Uhuru Kenyatta's State of the Nation address, with some lauding the government for boosting infrastructure development and promoting access to good health care. However, a section of Kenyans also want the government to focus on creating more job opportunities, especially for the youth.
Kwa rais wetu leo nimesikia akiongea na sitampinga kweli kwa mambo ya infrastructure. Amefanya kazi. Tumeona mabarabara kama Mau Road, tumeona kama expressway inajengwa. Lakini hata kama akileta maneno ya uchumi, maneno ya infrastructure, pia tunajua kuwa wananchi huwa hawakuli barabara na hawakuli reli. Wananchi wanakula ile pesa ambayo iko kwa mfuko. Na kusema kweli, wakati venye COVID imetupata, biashara nyingi imefungwa, watu wamepoteza kazi. Na hatuwezi enda na ile GDP na semo ya serikali ilhali hatujui kuwa kama pesa imeingia kwa mfuko yetu.
Nchi haijakuwa ni GDP ya mtu ndiye imekuwa. Watu binafsi wamekuza GDP zao. Mambo ya barabara wametutengenezea barabara ambazo hatuhitaji. Unajua kupeleka mbuzi wako kwenye soko hauhitaji lami. Kitu kingine hapa wanatuambia ni mambo ya ajira. Huwezi jenga economy ya watu na kazi hazipo. Watu hawana kazi. Sasa utaambiaje kwamba umejenga uchumi GDP? Unatumia kigezo kipi kuangalia GDP ya watu? Kina mama mboga huko wanalia, vijana wa bodaboda huko wanalia, hawana amani. Unatuambia mambo ya GDP.
Wetu Uhuru Kenyatta naona amesema ukweli. Huyu rais wetu ni rais mzuri. Stima iko, ameleta stima na inasaidia watu wengi. Sasa hizo unaweza enda rural areas upate kuna stima. Ile mambo ya unaenda stima iko tu place moja, unaenda kuchaji simu 20 bob. Unajua imeisha. Sasa hizi unaweza pata stima iko kila mahali, kila boma iko na stima. Hiyo amefanya mzuri. Then tena nataka kuongea hii mambo ya infrastructure, hiyo mambo ya roads. Rais wetu amejaribu sana. Sasa hizi kuna njia mingi sana. He has improved infrastructures in the country. All over the country there are so many infrastructure, more so in rural areas. Some days back kitambo kabisa hizi ilikuwa shida. Ukienda ushago unapata hata ukiwa na unapata matope, kutembea ni shida. Lakini sasa hizi during his reign he has tried. Unaweza pata huko ushago there's roads which has been tarmacked, vitu kama hizo.
Tutalipa namna gani deni ambayo imeweza kukabili wa Kenya? Tunapoongea sasa, mwananchi wa Kenya, hata ule mtoto mdogo anataiwa over 134,000. Na hajaweza kutueleza baadhi ya serikali yake kuchukua loan.
Ningependa kushukuru President Uhuru Kenyatta kwa kazi ambayo amefanya. Mambo ya barabara, mambo ya stima, mambo ya economy, nje nakuwa kwamba ni wakati ya mwisho ndio tunafeel, lakini tunaomba uendelee kuwekwa mkazo mambo ya mwananchi ya kawaida ya chini, ili aweze kupata economy iweze kwenda juu, ili mwananchi aweze kufeel lakini sisi tunashukuru Uhuru Kenyatta, mambo ya barabara imefanya ya kutosha.
Well, away from the state of the nation and the president of the nation to the president of football Kenya, an embattled FKF president Nick Mwendwa has been released from police custody on a 10 million shillings cash bail on conditions that he does not access the FKF offices. The court has also barred Mwendwa from interfering with prosecution witnesses and has instructed him to surrender his passport. Dennis Otieno reports.
Embattled FKF President Nick Mwendwa was today released on a 10 million shillings cash bail or a bond of 15 million shillings. Mwendwa, who was arrested on Friday, was presented before High Court Principal Magistrate Eunice Nyuto and charged with 4 counts of fraudulent acquisition of property. Principal Magistrate Eunice Nyuto granted Mwendwa bail on conditions that he shall not access the FKF offices, as well as interfere with any prosecution witnesses through his proxies. Mwendwa was also restricted from speaking to the media regarding the case and was instructed to surrender his passport in court.
That the accused person shall be released on a cash bail of 10 million shillings. That in the alternative, the accused person shall be released on a bond of 15 million shillings with 2 sureties of a similar amount. That the accused person shall deposit his passport in court until this matter is finalized. That the accused person is forbidden from accessing the FKF offices without leave of the court and in any event under the escort of the investigating officer.
Following an audit report conducted by Sports Registrar Rose Wasike, the state accused Mwendwa for failing to account for 29.5 million shillings that is allegedly from the Federation's account, while alleging that he had fraudulently wired 8.5 million shillings from the Federation's account to his personal account. This was the second time Mwendwa has been arrested, arraigned in court and released on a cash bail in less than 3 weeks due to the corruption allegations. Mwendwa will know his fate on December 20th this year when the case will be mentioned. This as World Football Governing Body FIFA and the Sports Ministry engage in talks regarding Kenya's impending ban from international football due to government interference. Dennis Otieno, TV 47. Dennis Otieno, TV 47.
Entrepreneurs around the country are creatively grinding.
I started with a borrowed phone.
A borrowed phone?
Yeah, that could last 2 hours with charge.
We just have to do quality work for them.
To make their mark in an unpredictable market.
It was now going on a sales venture, looking for stockists door to door.
On the grind, we bring you their stories so you can tell yours. Every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Men are known to be the pillars.
We're rising up together.
Say your point. You need an alpha male now to come and help you and your girl.
Anaongea zero.
And women, they are the cornerstone that hold the pillars.
Don't be entitled. A man is peaceful, a man knows how to talk to a lady.
This November, the Men's Conference brings a cocktail of diverse ladies to weigh in on various matters.
Something I'd love more to see is men being able to exist as themselves.
Tune in every Wednesday at 10 p.m.
Hello guys and welcome to Night In with Joy Irungu. Joy Irungu.
Heartbreak, pain, and tears have been a major part of Night In Season 1. We thank you for being with us on this journey, and for this upcoming season, we will bring you more empowering stories that not everyone is talking about.
This is the only show where we keep it authentic. We share our lifetime experiences, and you know what? Tell every person that you can turn your pain into power.
Join Joy Irongo on Night In as we take the brave step of sharing.
The road to 2022 is becoming tougher.
Nyuma ya wheelbarrow kuna economic model.
And trickier with each passing day.
Niliwaambia washushe chini bei ya mafuta.
Political aspirants in a dilemma whether to change allegiance or not.
How has Raila and the handshake made Jubilee lose focus?
You've seen Raila Odinga flying military choppers.
Our people have never been called to Uhuru Park to unite. They have always united out of their own volition.
Reduce your madness.
Kenyans are suffering.
Would that be fair to conclude?
I don't want your station to be sued. That Jubilee government has never been able to sponsor any successful project.
Every Monday at 9:30 p.m., Pundits Night brings you inclusive and candid conversations with the pundits.
Tasty. 100. Yani chumvi imeonja kabisa, like you do not need to add anything.
So the first thing you need as a beekeeper is a beehive.
Yes. Even though I know I won't read it as that because then I'll be getting the time.
You can handle it. But if you want us to reduce, we can reduce it.
Wake up feeling fresh every morning and knowing that there is a morning show that's got you covered. It's the morning show built just for you. From local headlines, a comprehensive debate, entertainment, and so much more. I'm always thrilled joining you every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Kilimo Diaries is not your one-stop show. Sandra Wahito is always on the move to different counties, different farms, and it's always unpredictable. Animals, crops, and advice from both farmers and experts.
We also add calcium sulfate when it's too basic.
Every Sunday at 6:30 p.m., we talk agriculture. Entrepreneurs around the country are creatively grinding.
Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight. Thank you for staying with us. Let's get to more news. And President Uhuru Kenyatta is set to confer Nakuru with a city status during his tour of Nakuru tomorrow. Locals are hopeful the move will improve the business environment, as Chichi Josephine now reports from Nakuru.
Nakuru is set to be the Kenya's fourth city on Wednesday, when President Uhuru Kenyatta will award a charter to the town ahead of its inauguration.
We are here to celebrate with the people of Nakuru and all that have been part of this long journey that is finally culminating in the award of the charter by the President tomorrow.
The move comes after senators by a majority vote supported a report by the House Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations that recommended that Nakuru municipality be conferred with a city status. Nakuru joins Mombasa, Kisumu and the country's capital Nairobi in the city status. Locals, however, feel that the cost of living in the new city is likely to rise.
Everything comes with responsibility. So Nakuru being a city, it's a good idea, but we expect a number of things to be improved because we will no longer be under a municipality. Being a city means you have to improve in every sector.
Kama rent itapanda, tena watu wa chini chini tena wataumia. Though the business in the city is expected to improve, locals who are in business have also expressed fears that the taxes are likely to go up.
Sisi pande yetu tuna swali moja tunajiuliza. Upande wa taxation itakuwa namna gani? Juu tunaangalia tunaona income pande yetu itakuwa ni ile ile. Na obvious tunajua taxation itakuwa juu. Hapo pande hiyo itakuwa namna gani?
Nakuru ikiwekwa city tumefurahia, lakini shida ni tutasumbuliwa sisi wa biashara ndogo ndogo. Kwa sababu hapo ndipo tunapata riziki yetu, tunalea nao watoto na tunalipa nyumba zetu.
The Moses Kajwang-led committee approved the application to have Nakuru municipality elevated to a city before tabling its report before the House. After months of scrutiny, the Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations Committee recommended that to cure the urban sprawl, a review of boundaries of Nakuru municipality as stipulated in the Urban Areas and Cities Act, which provides the procedure for delineation of boundaries, is done.
As we commemorate the award of the city charter to elevate Nakuru from a municipality into a city, and this will make it the fourth city after the three that were already elevated before the new constitution. So Nakuru becomes the first after the new constitution. And indeed, it's been a long journey.
The locals are hopeful that the city status will see an improvement on good infrastructure, good drainage system, enhanced security, as well as revival and expansion of industries.
We need to improve on our agriculture. We need to revive our Pyrethrum Board of Kenya. Many industries are dead there like Everready. Nakuru itself has a capacity of rising from ashes.
The upgrade of Nakuru town into a city has evoked a lot of mixed reaction among residents, but the question remains, will the upgrading be accompanied by high cost of living? Reporting for TV47 from Nakuru County, my name is Chichi Josephine.
Thank you, Chichi Josephine, for that report from the county of unlimited opportunities. Let's get to some politics now. And ODM leader Raila Odinga has castigated his opponents for downplaying his Azimio la Umoja agenda, with his allies now poking holes on IEBC's preparedness ahead of the 2022 elections. Paul Kirobi tells us more.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Leaders allied to the ODM party have poked holes on IEBC preparedness ahead of the 2022 elections.
And we are telling Jebukati that we are watching you very keenly. Sisi usifikiri tumenyamaza, hatujui kitu gani inaendelea. We know what is going on and we know what is happening.
IEBC wanahitaji hata hizi kampuni za mawasiliano
ili kufanya nao kazi. IEBC hata wanahitaji idara za mahakama, kwa sababu mambo ikienda mrama huko ndio kesi zitaelekea. Kwa hivyo hii election preparedness inatuhitaji sisi sote, na wasitishwe na watu ya UDA.
This comes after UDA's affiliated members questioned the involvement of senior government officials on election matters, a move that triggered IEBC to write a letter to the Interior Ministry withdrawing its engagements with the National Multisectoral Initiative and the Technical Working Committee on Election Preparedness. Article 249(2) of the Constitution outlines that the commissions and the holders of the independent offices are subject to only the Constitution and the law and are independent and not subject to direction or control by any person or authority. IEBC further alleges that it has been pushed by the National Multisectoral Consultative Forum, a move that IEBC says contravenes Article 86 of the Constitution that requires IEBC to ensure that whatever method the electoral body uses must be simple, accurate, verifiable, secure and accountable. The electoral body made references to the case of Kenneth Otieno versus Attorney General and IEBC, where the petitioner challenged the establishment of the technical committee to oversee the adoption of technology by IEBC. The commissioner further said it will engage all relevant stakeholders in preparation of the 2022 polls. ODM boss Raila Odinga spoke after receiving Chief Administrative Secretary of Education Hassan Nur and defectors from Isiolo County, where he promised to deliver his agenda come 2022.
Viwanda ambazo zinaweza kusaidia wananchi. Nyinyi mko hapo majirani na Ethiopia. Ethiopia iko na very developed leather industry. Ni majirani. Mfuo yao wanatengeneza naye bidhaa kama haya.
A number of governors have promised to back Odinga's 2022 presidential bid. However,
Liffey County Governor Amason Kingi has vowed to stand with the Pamoja African Alliance Party that he says will address issues affecting coastal region people. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
Elsewhere, in a bid to protect children in conflict or in contact with the law, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has today launched a prosecutor's guide to children in the criminal justice system and a diploma course in public prosecutions. Elizabeth Atieno now reports.
The launch of these two documents by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, or DPP, is aimed at providing an easy-to-read reference tool to assist prosecutors handling cases involving children and standardizing the implementation of best practices across the country in the prosecution of child matters.
The ODPP has put in place measures to ensure that children's agenda is at the forefront of our operations. In this regard, the ODPP has set up the Child Justice Unit within the Children's Division. This unit is made up of prosecutors from all the different counties. It is intended to enable a fast response to children issues.
These two documents reflect one of our strategic objectives to make prosecution services professional, civilized, and also to make prosecutors be part and parcel of the objective of the whole country, that we be people who obey the law.
The ODPP has issued measures to observe legal and privacy rights of children in conflict or in contact with the law.
Children, whether in conflict or in contact with the law, have a fundamental right to be protected and treated with dignity. In order for children in conflict with the law to fully participate in the justice process, we leave the justice system properly rehabilitated. They must be treated fairly.
And I've gone through the guidelines. They provide the most appropriate means for the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution to ensure that as you process child offenders, their rights under the Constitution, international conventions and treaties are guaranteed.
It's also important that all prosecutors know that a child must be represented, so that immediately a case is brought before the court and the child is not represented, the prosecutor is quickly able to know that we need this child represented.
But anyhow, when they're in the system, when they are victims of crime, or when they are offenders themselves, they have the right to be treated according to child-friendly services. That's why it is so important to make the Kenyan criminal justice system adjust to children and juveniles in the system.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission CEO, Twalib Mbarak, has criticized the rising cases of arson in schools, stating that social media is partly to blame. Twalib has further urged legal bodies to adopt to the new and technological means of dealing with child cases, sentiments that were echoed by DPP Haji, stating that the ODPP has set up child interview rooms where sessions will be virtual.
Setting up of child-friendly interview rooms in 7 counties, namely Nairobi, Nakuru, Mombasa, Kisumu, Kiambu, Kajiado, and Lamu. They will be equipped with video conferencing equipment to allow for remote interviewing and court sessions, thus secondary victimization of child victims.
Today, our kids are burning schools everywhere. A very unique sort of crime in Africa. I've never had any other African country where children are burning school. When you think you have passwords and ways of blocking maybe overage movies and documentary, I can assure you you're just cheating yourself. When you leave the house, those kids can penetrate and open everything.
EACC has promised to stand by DPP Haji after 4 petitions were filed to remove him from office. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Elsewhere, a lawsuit seeking to compel DCI boss George Kinoti to arrest and charge businessman Jimmy Wanjigi over alleged illegal possession of weapons has been filed in court. The case, filed under certificate of urgency by city lawyer Dunstan Omari, seeks to compel the DCI to move with speed and recover the cache from Wanjigi, who has locked horns with the country's spy master. He's also requesting the Firearms Licensing Board to summon Wanjigi for interrogation.
A fugitive, as a criminal, as a person is supposed to serve jail. 2, we are also seeing George Kinoti recovering the terrorists to escape within 3 days. Yet, we are being told George Kinoti should go and sleep in the same condemned cell with the people he recovered. Is it fair? Is it the rule of law? So my position as a lawyer is that the orders that are given are not practical, they cannot be implemented, and the Court of Appeal will stay those orders.
Squarely on a number of guns, 7 to be specific, that were not mentioned or were not subject of controversy before Justice Mrima and Chachamuita when he first delivered the ruling in 2019. Now, when matters are mentioned, the Firearms Licensing Board to move with speed.
Moving on, the government has launched the Clean Cooking Week 2021 that aims at curbing Kenya's strong reliance on solid biomass fuel by 2028 in rural areas where over 80% of households depend on firewood and charcoal as their primary source of cooking fuel. Speaking during the launch of the Clean Cooking Week 2021, Principal Secretary, Ministry of Energy, Major General Retired Dr. Gordon Khialangwa said that the government is committed to gradually phasing out of the use of charcoal in urban areas by 2028.
This event we've organized it together in partnership with the Ministry of Energy. Government has been facilitating the sector in terms of policy support, incentives. We've got some incentives from the government, VAT exemptions of some of the products. However, part of the role that government needs to play a bit more proactively is, supporting the innovation space, supporting research in this sector, creating awareness, sensitizing communities. I think there's someone who mentioned that what government has done, for example, in sensitizing people around various, even the pandemic, COVID, HIV, malaria. I mean, we need such kind of support so that everybody is made aware of what they need to do the reason why they need to transition from the dirty fuels to using more cleaner or clean and efficient technologies, the impact it has on their health, the environment. We are talking of the forest cover that is a target that we've been trying to chase. But as long as majority of Kenyans are still using biomass to cook, then we'll never achieve the 10% minimum cover that